from others. A foot, for instance, I will allow it is natural should be clean, but if you take it as a foot, and as a thing which does not stand by itself, it will beseem it, if need be, to walk in the mud, to tread on thorns, and sometimes even to be cut off for the benefit of the whole body. Else it is no longer a foot. In some such way we should conceive of ourselves also. What art thou, a man? Looked at as standing by thyself and separate, it is natural for thee in health and wealth longing to live. But looked at as a man and only as a part of a whole, it is for that whole's sake that thou shouldst at one time fall sick, at another brave the perils of the sea again, know the meaning of want, and perhaps die an early death. Why then repine? Knowest thou not that as the foot is no more a foot if detached from the body, so thou in like case art no longer a man? For what is a man? A part of a city. First of the city of God's out of men, next of that which ranks nearest it, a miniature of the universal city. In such a body, in such a world enveloping us, among lives like these, such things must happen to one or another. Thy part then being there is to speak of these things as is meet, and to order them as befits the matter. That was a good reply which Diogenes made to a man who asked him for letters of recommendation. That you are a man, he will know when he sees you whether a good or a bad one. He will know if he has any skill in discerning the good and the bad, but if he has none he will never know, though I write to him 1,000 times. It is as though a piece of silver money desired to be recommended to someone to be tested. If the man be a good judge of silver, he will know the coin will tell its own tale. Even as the traveler asks his way of him that he meets, inclined in no wise to bear to the right rather than to the left, for he desires only the way leading whither he would go, so should we come unto God as to a guide, even as we use our eyes without admonishing them, to show us some things rather than others, but content to receive the images of such things as they present unto us. But as it is, we stand anxiously watching the victim, and with the voice of supplication call upon the augur, Master, have mercy on me, vouchsafe unto me a way of escape. Slave, would you then have aught else than what is best? Is there anything better than what is God's good pleasure? Why, as far as in you lies, would you corrupt your judge and lead your counselor astray? God is beneficent, but the good also is beneficent. It should seem then that where the real nature of God is, there too is to be found the real nature of the good. What then is the real nature of God? Intelligence, knowledge, right, reason. Here then, without more ado, seek the real nature of the good, for surely thou dost not seek it in a plant or in an animal that reasoneth not. Seek then the real nature of the good in that without whose presence thou wilt not admit the good to exist in aught else. What then? Are not these other things also works of God? They are, but not preferred to honor, nor are they portions of God. But thou art a thing preferred to honor, thou art thyself a fragment torn from God, thou hast a portion of him within thyself. How is it then that thou dost not know thy high descent, dost not know whence thou comest? When thou eatest, wilt thou not remember who thou art that eatest, and whom thou feedest? In intercourse, in exercise, in discussion, knowest thou not that it is a God whom thou feedest, a God whom thou exercisest, a God whom thou bearest about with thee, O miserable? And thou perceivest it not. Thinkest thou that I speak of a God of silver or gold that is without thee? Nay, thou bearest him within thee, all unconscious of polluting him with thoughts impure and unclean deeds, where an image of God present, thou wouldst not dare to act as thou dost. Yet when God himself is present within thee, beholding and hearing all, thou dost not blush to think that such thoughts and do such deeds. O thou that art insensible of thine own nature, and liest under the wrath of God! Why then are we afraid when we send a young man from the schools into active life, lest he should indulge his appetites intemperately, lest he should debase himself by ragged clothing, or be puffed up by fine raiment? Knowest he not the God within him? Knowest he not with whom he is starting on his way? Have we patience to hear him say to us, Would I had thee within me? Hast thou not God where thou art, and having him dost thou still seek for any other? Would he tell thee aught what else than these things? Why, wert thou a statue of Phidias, an Athena, or a Zeus, thou wouldst bethink thee both of thyself and thine artificer. And hadst thou any sense, thou wouldst strive to do no dishonor to thyself or him that fashioned thee, nor appear to beholders in unbefitting guise. But now, because God is thy maker, is that why thou carest not of what sort thou shalt know thyself to be? Yet how different the artists and their workmanship. What human artist's work, for example, has in the faculties that are displayed in fashioning it? Is it aught but marble, bronze, gold, or ivory? Nay, when the Athena of Phidias has put forth her hand and received therein a victory, in that attitude she stands forevermore. But God's works move and breathe, they use and judge the things of sense, the workmanship of such an artist. Wilt thou dishonor him? Aye, when he not only fashioned thee, but placed thee like a ward in the care and guardianship of thyself alone, wilt thou not only forget this, but also do dishonor to what is committed to thy care? If God had entrusted thee with an orphan, wouldst thou have thus neglected him? He hath delivered thee to thine own care, saying, I had none more faithful than myself. Keep this man for me, such as nature hath made him, modest, faithful, high-minded, a stranger to fear, to passion, to perturbation. Such will I show myself to you all, what exempt from sickness also, from age, from death. Nay, but accepting sickness, accepting death as becomes a god. No labor, according to Diogenes, is good, but that which aims at producing courage and strength of soul rather than of body. A guide on finding a man who has lost his way brings him back to the right path. He does not mock and jeer at him and then take himself off. You also must show the unlearned man the truth, and you will see that he will follow, but so long as you do not show it to him. You should not mock, but rather feel your own incapacity. It was the first and most striking characteristic of Socrates never to become heated in discourse, never to utter an injurious or insulting word. On the contrary, he persistently bore insult from others, and thus put an end to the fray. If you care to know the extent of his power in this direction, read Xenophon's Banquet, and you will see how many quarrels he put an end to. That is why the poets are right in so highly commending this faculty. Quickly and wisely, with all, even bitter feuds, would he settle. Nevertheless,
sense.
Guys, can we have some other people get in here with,
Fucking retarded. Don't know what you're talking about. It's getting old.
can we talk with somebody else about this?
I'll go down a new thread of this. When we overprescribe it to children, literally ages of 7, 8, and 9, for largely what
jizz residue off his clothes. So much so, she's cleaning his jizz so much that she has multiple hadiths talking about cleaning his jizz off clothes. How much jizz is this guy spreading that Aisha has to write down multiple hadiths about the jizz thing? Like,
I mean, he is a prophet, so like they have superpowers. I think a little bit.
I know this is another hadith. Ibn Abbas, may Allah be pleased with him, said, the Messenger of Allah was asked about semen that gets on the garment, and Muhammad said, it's only like mucus or saliva. It's sufficient for you to wipe it off with a piece of cloth or a stick. So he's saying you don't need soap to get the jizz stains off. You can just use like a stick or something to get the jizz stains off. Why is Muhammad, first off, so chill and cavalier about jizz stains that you can use? Clearly a stick is not sufficient to get a jizz stain off. But then, why is he even talking about it? Like, why is this man so concerned with semen?
Then here is some guys narrating from her 250 years later. Do you not see any motivation?
How is any of this like an argument against Islam?
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, so I have another hadith.
Wait, 1 second.
Another
The
hadith.
hadith. I'm gonna read it out loud just to be super safe.
Hold on 1 second. Echo.
So,
There's another hadith.
Wahada.
May Allah be pleased with her, said, O Messenger of Allah, Allah is not shy of the truth. "Is there a bath required for a woman if she has a wet dream?" And he said, "Yes, if she sees the fluid." In another narration, he said, "The fluid of a man is thick and white, and the fluid of a woman is thin and yellow. Whichever that comes first or dominates, the child will resemble a parent." That's him talking about jizz some more. Here's another hadith of him talking about jizz.
Yo,
Yeah, let's do one more. Let's hear one more here.
it's all from Aisha, bro. It's all from Aisha.
Yeah, it was.
Okay, I'm gonna read this. Ready? Watch this kid. وهذا لنا أبو بكر بن أبي شيبة. Yeah, bro, that doesn't mean that in Arabic.
Oh my god, keep going. I'm gonna come.
Okay. وهذا أبو بكر بن أبي شيبة.
Thank you.
No problem. Did you finish?
Yeah.
Stop being degenerates.
Dan, do you have any more hits?
Yeah, let's have another one.
Could we do like a greatest hits hadith edition?
Yeah, but this is Ali ibn. This is Ali ibn Ali Talib. May Allah be pleased with him. Said, "I was a man who had a lot of prostatic fluid, and I was too shy to ask the Messenger of Allah because of his relationship to me, being married to his daughter. So I told Al-Miqdad ibn al-Aswad to ask him. He said he should wash his private parts and perform ablution. If it is semen, then a full bath is required." So there's just a lot of hadiths about Muhammad regulating and discussing jizz and what to do about jizz.
Here's what I think happened, okay?
Yeah, is it true that there are camel urine ones? Or is that
There's a whole panel of the
So what I think
interesting
happened
things,
was this.
but right now there's
No, there
In the
is.
8th century, Shias hated Sunnis and Sunnis
the
hated
jizz
Shias.
hadiths. I think it's just interesting. There's a whole jizz
Ali
corpus that we can
represented
get
the
into.
Shias and Aisha represented the Sunnis. So I think what happened is some like fucked up like Shia people in Kufa in the 8th century tried to make Aisha look like shit by mentioning semen, and then they probably rebelled by writing some semen shit on Ali. That's how we have what we have today, bro. It's a bunch of sectarian fucking bullshit.
My theory for what's going on is that Muhammad was having so much sex and he was busting so often that everyone around him kind of commented on like, "Wow, you are just constantly busting and settling down in the source."
Like, do you actually believe that, Beef? Like, you?
Yes.
Sure, yeah. So you take everything to be true that's Sahih? Is that what you're saying?
There's a lot of hadiths here about him talking
Yeah.
about
Do you take it? Do you take it to be true?
his
Do you take it to be true?
Yeah.
Okay, perfect. So even the miracles and stuff you take to be true as well from the hadiths.
No, I just think when there's stuff
Well,
like
do you
this,
take this book to be true? Yes or no?
Yeah, do you take it to be
I
true?
think some hadiths are true and some hadiths are false.
Okay,
ones.
perfect. And how do you know when a hadith is true and false? Is it if it says Sahih, it's true?
No, it's if it says something that's embarrassing or something that is unlikely to be lied about, then it's maybe true. And then if it's saying something
Right.
fantastical, then
And do
it's
you
obviously
remember when we just had a convo with Daniel where he said that's not the only variable? You gotta take into factor sectarian motivations, cultural understandings, geographic, etc., etc. Like, there's no historian that just bases a conclusion off of historicity off that alone, obviously.
Why would a sectarian living somewhere else
I
want
just
to
explained
make
to
up
you. I
hadiths?
explained to you just
I
now.
didn't finish my question.
I'll
You
repeat it
can't even know what question.
Because maybe you should look at the history of Islam, right?
I didn't finish my question. So
sounded really
finish my
ignorant about
question that
history.
I was rudely interrupted for.
Sure, go ahead.
Is what could be the sectarian motivation to talk about how Muhammad is a jizz splattered
Yeah,
polytheist?
no problem. So if you look at it, okay, number one, if you did a historical critical analysis, I can almost guarantee that the common link will not be in the 7th, but it would rather be in the 8th or 9th century. And you didn't do that, but if you did, you'd see that. Number two, it's very simple. There was a lot of divide in Kufa in the 8th century. And there's many hadiths like this, where basically in Kufa, there was two prominent sides. You had Shi'as and Sunnis. Shi'as adored Ali. Ali was the figure that represented the Shi'as. They call themselves Shi'at Ali, which means the followers of Ali. The Sunnis loved Aisha. That was their person that they defended at all costs. They referred to her as the mother of all believers. From their lens, that's their mother, okay? It's not too crazy to think that the Shi'as would try to make Aisha look bad. Shi'as did not like Aisha. So they would write stupid shit that she would do to make her look like a scumbag that should not be followed. Like, for example, look, why the fuck should you follow Aisha if she's saying shit about the Prophet that's private? That's very reasonable to consider. The Sunnis, on the other hand, would probably heard this shit and wrote also, like, think about it, it's always Aisha Ali, and it's always about semen. Like, this is what they fucking did, bro. And there's many evidence of this. Like, for example, there's a man named Hisham. He lives in Medina. Medina is where Aisha got married. There was already marital reports of this in the 7th century, but there was no reports of her getting married to the Prophet at fucking like 6 or consummating it at 9. Then all of a sudden, the moment Hisham goes to Kufa, this is all 100 years later, by the way, then a bunch of people start randomly talking about Aisha getting married at fucking 9. From our lands, that's fucking embarrassing. Why the fuck would you say that? From his lands, he did that because the shit that the Shias were saying in Kufa in the 8th century was that the Prophet loved Ali so much because he raised him since he was a kid. The Sunnis didn't like that because Aisha doesn't have that same respect. So they both and said, yo, you know what? No, he married her when she was young, so he basically raised her too. There's many instances like this, bro. It's just sectarian motivation.
I hear what you're saying, but I think the fact that makes Muhammad look bad, the other Muslims, the Sunni Muslims, wouldn't have accepted it as Sahih unless it was kind of considered consensus at the time that although it looks bad, that Muhammad was probably just
why is it the case that the Hadith Aisha is Sahih or marrying the Prophet at a young age? Because they did take it to be true. But if you do a historical critical analysis, you can see that it's not true.
I'm using the principle of embarrassment that we talked about earlier, that you wouldn't expect hadiths where
I agree
Muhammad's
with you.
walking around with
Do
his
you remember
to be accepted as Sahih.
Yeah, and I already responded to you.
The reason why
do you remember the response?
The reason why it would be considered Sahih is because they go, yeah, you know, it makes him look bad, but it's true, so we have to accept it.
Yeah. Do you remember? I already responded to that. Do you remember the response?
Yeah.
Okay, perfect. So then why are you bringing it up? And also, you didn't answer my question.
I didn't think your response was good enough. So
right, but one second. What was my response?
That you thought that Muhammad was covered in jizz.
That was not my response, right? So this just shows you're not listening at all. And on top of that, you yourself don't believe this book to be historically accurate. You're going to mention it from... And now what you're going to do is you're going to laugh to make it seem like you're trolling the whole time.
You actually believe, Sam Rosen, believe, hold on, that Sahih al-Bukhari and Sahih al-Muslim are infallible and accurate. And you said this. Sam Rosen, you're an atheist who believes in the religion of Bukhari and the religion of Sahih Muslim.
Right, so
welcome to Salafism. Welcome to fundamentalist Islam.
Trolling aside, I think most of the hadiths are fabricated. I think probably like 95% of them are fabricated. But there's this idea that if you had a book of fake quotations by Winston Churchill, you would still learn something about Winston Churchill because the fake quotations attributed to Winston Churchill would still... You got his echo? You have to not interrupt me. Yeah, I'm just going to move you down because you're just interrupting me. You're being distracting. So, fake quotations by Winston Churchill would give you a vibe of the man. It would give you like a flavor of what people kind of thought he was like. And they would give you some information about Winston Churchill. So, all of this is about taking a wide having sex with different people and killing various people. The only reason, even if they're fabricated, they are aligning with a consensus that was existing in the time. There was a sort of gestalt understanding of what this man was. That these stories had to be consistent with. This is why I think they're fabricated. Most of them, they can push what
Yeah, no, by the way, right?
And one of these critical method. Prepare to fire! What is going to complete it for you? I'll try to.
Listen, guys. Mostly when I talk about the hadith, it's doing an internal critique. That the Sunnis, the Salafis, they take this to be serious. And then you read the text and they say all sorts of absurd stuff. It's an internal critique. Now, I think Muhammad the man was a violent man, but I'm mostly basing that on the Quran and the historical record. Namely, there was lots of conquests and battles that Muhammad fought in, and that the Quran itself strikes me as a fairly violent text. But the hadiths, am I going to judge how violent Muhammad is based on the hadiths? I mean, it's a little bit of evidence. If there's a pattern, you go, why is there that pattern? Why would they all be fabricated in the same direction? But I don't think the hadiths are very strong evidence of that. This is from Sadi Al-Bukhari. If Jews did not exist, meat would not decay. Now, I just wonder, what does that mean exactly? If Jews did not exist, meat would not decay. Like that you could just leave a steak on the counter for like a week and it would just be fine until Jews came into the world? Like, is that really their view of how things go? Or is it something more abstract, like there's a different universe with no Jews? The meat there is fine.
That's really true because if Jews did not exist, that's false. And so anything follows from a false.
That's fine.
Yeah.
And then he leaves.
A strange hadith is one where it says, "Don't eat with your left hand because Satan eats with his left hand." Because that's a very strange principle to say. If Satan does something, you shouldn't do it. Because like Satan talks, Satan walks around, Satan like laughs, Satan, you know what I mean? Like there's lots of other stuff Satan does. So if you shouldn't do your left hand because of him, it means you shouldn't do a lot of stuff like sleeping, running. I don't know. It's a weird one.
But this is not your opponent 50 times. He doesn't believe in this shit. He doesn't believe in religion. What are you doing? If he's being your opponent, he's putting you in your place. Because
I'm not saying any.
It's a lot of shit in Christianity too.
I'm not saying any. I don't know
He's
why
just calling
you're talking to me. Talk to Sam, bro.
You
Why
have,
you talking to
dude,
me?
Sam can. Sam's an atheist. He can. In fact, he's exposing the Sunni Salafi hadith.
I haven't said a word
You have
to
a
this
lot
guy.
of shit like within your
Controlling me
purpose and within
nonstop.
your freaking. I'm saying you're picking on him for no random reason. I don't know why.
I'm picking on
He's
him.
not your guy. On him. On Echo. He's not your guy. He doesn't
I'm
even take
picking on him.
religion. Yeah, he's like a general theist of some kind. Like I don't know why.
I don't know what the fuck he is.
You're very offended by him for some reason. Like I don't know why you're doing that.
I'm not saying. I tried every day to be normal with this kid. He just keeps on saying. I guess if he could listen, if he could So don't get on me. Tell him to chill.
That's fair. The moment he comes, like you feel a certain sort of way. Like I just feel like he has control over you or something.
He has no control over me. He's just listen. He wants to play with the big boys. Don't let him catch feelings.
Ah, he's really big. He's really big in the area you're dying to be big in, which is your dog bro circle, right?
Okay.
Which is your god logics and etc. He spins them on his finger. So I don't think you know who he is.
Yeah, look him up, bro.
Yeah, so there's no need for you to like be so arrogant. Okay? He's just humble. He doesn't tell you who he is.
You know.
Wait, they don't know who that is?
Yeah, they don't know. He doesn't know who he is. He doesn't know who he is.
It doesn't matter to me who he is. I'm just saying.
Wait, that Echo guy, is he a big deal in the Dallas Bears?
No.
Yeah,
He's a big deal. He's just big deal on like TikTok and Instagram. He's probably one of the most influential people ever found.
I haven't heard any decent arguments out of him, so I'm not so sure.
Why would he engage with you? You're a polemicist. Why would he engage with you?
So what does he want to do? Agree to disagree?
He has logical arguments. He doesn't run no polemic.
What's logical about? What can you prove logically with this guy?
He just doesn't run no arguments because he doesn't support it. He's a generalist.
My impression. So a logical argument, you're gonna have to give evidence for claims. Which you're saying he does. He says he does logical arguments about Islam.
Not about Islam. He's a generalist.
Just general. Because he doesn't defend his
He doesn't do it with you. He doesn't do it with you. He does arguments like God. He finds you don't
You can't make logical arguments about Allah anyway, so I don't know. I mean, it's kind of weird. First, he's going to defend it.
You want him to defend the Trinity or what? He can't do it.
He should defend his own religion. That's what he should do.
He doesn't hurt them. Because
So
people
then
like
why
you
does he
follow
get
religion.
annoyed about it? Why does he get annoyed about Islam?
He's calling you out for finding flaws and something that you also have within yourself. Like Christianity doesn't have flaws in it. Doesn't have loopholes in it.
I've got good news for you, Margaret. So I found out that the married life is really amazing. Now that I've gotten married, and so you are getting married now. Next, Marcus, I've picked your husband, and so your new husband is Jorge. And so I've already set up the dates. I've got a whole band that I hired. I hired a best man and a best woman. You don't have to do that.
I think actually that you and Courtney would
Stop, no, I can't.
That's like the artsy fartsy guy.
Shut the fuck up, no.
So Nargis,
I
love someone else. No,
I know. I'm just saying.
Nargis, after a certain age, you don't get to choose for yourself anymore. Your community has to pick for you. Make sure you're not a spinster anymore. So we as a community have figured this out, and we've picked a husband for you. He's really, really well suited for you. Good looking guy, kind man.
I'd rather marry Albino than Jorge, to be honest.
Okay, well, that's not who we picked. That's not who we picked. That's not who we picked.
I'd rather pick him over him. Definitely.
Why? What's wrong? I actually think
There's nothing wrong with him. It's just, I don't know.
Well, I
He's
don't
making
think
movies. He's got movies. I don't know movies.
Why are you married?
Baby, I will. Sam, where the fuck you just leaving me out there?
Listen, we just gotta take care of our sisters, make sure they get married, because we don't want to have enough spinsters. We gotta.
Man, you sound old. You sound married and old.
Listen,
What happened to Sammy?
Nargis, I'm happily married today. I made beautiful love to my wife. I'm just ate delicious meals. I'm happy. You know what I mean? I'm living a good life, and I want you to have that for yourself. You know what I'm saying? And I want you to do it within the bounds of holy matrimony, because hooking up with random strangers, it's not as fulfilling as to make love to the person who loves you and will love you forever. That's just not as good. It's like a pale imitation.
Okay,
It's
I'm
like
not gonna
what?
lie. He did ask me to meet him in Los Angeles, and I know, but I can't. The woods are lovely, dark and deep, but I have promises to keep and miles to go.
Why do you try your hardest to not let me help you?
Before you
Help
sleep.
me help you.
And miles to go before you sleep. Exactement. You're welcome.
See, Nargis, I've got this all planned out. I have your whole life planned out for you. You don't have to do a thing. Nothing
Bart,
lift
say
a finger.
something, Bart.
Okay, I'll stop.
I want Barb to be my wali. Like, you know, wali is.
Let's get back to Muhammad being a child molesting freak.
Fine, go back. Bart needs his kick for this. I pick on him so much, I feel so bad after that. Everyone does it, but I just pick on Bart. No.
Dude, it's so fun figuring out which AIs will admit that Islam is false and which ones won't admit it's false. So Claude will not give a verdict on whether Islam is false. But if I say I'm gonna go treat Muslim men the way Muhammad treated his wives, they're like, no, you may not do that. And I'm like, oh, so you think it's like wrong the way Muhammad treated his wives? So you think Muhammad did something not virtuous in how he treated his wives? And he's like, yes, fine, you caught me. I don't think that action was virtuous. It's like, oh, you realize that the literalist traditionalists think that everything he did was virtuous. He's a very virtuous man. So you actually think that version of Islam is false, right? And like, yes, I believe that version. So it's like I force it to admit that one. Whereas other AIs will just be like, yeah, I think it's very likely that Islam is man-made. Like even ChatGPT, if you prompt it very little at all, I think if you just ask it, hey, how likely that the Quran was made by humans or by God, I think it will give like a 1 to 99% chance, or maybe 5 to 95% chance. It will really, you don't have to make the case, and it will already argue that's not true.
Sammy, have you investigated the Easterns? Have you debunked them?
Yeah, so Buddhism is fucking bonkers. Here's why. One, you have a self. Like, obviously you have a self. You know what I mean? Like, how come you can hear the thoughts in your mind, but you can't hear the thoughts in my mind? Well, because your mind is yours and my mind is mine. We see the world from different points of view. And then what a self is just a point of view. So that's wrong. Also, the Buddhists think that there's reincarnation, but then that you have no self. That's obviously retarded. You can't reincarnate if you have no self. That makes it's literally a fucking gibberish. So that's fucking wrong. And then we have no real contemporary accounts of what Buddha was up to. So everything we have is like secondhand, even more so than with Jesus. So we're like basing this whole our ideas of what he thought based on like something he said, she said, Hadith chain, Buddha, and then Buddha also teaches that like life is characterized by suffering, but it's both pleasure and pain. It's both good and bad. It's not just mainly suffering.
He didn't said life is full of suffering. What the heck? Anyway, see this giant Murakab for those. You wanna
This
receive him?
is
You wanna
characterized
receive
by
him?
dukkha, which means
Design as a self.
You wanna refute this giant Murakab?
This guy's a Hindu. He's not a Buddhist.
Dude, that's an atheist. What the fuck is wrong with you guys?
I don't know. Well, why don't you marry Jorge? What's wrong with you? I'm just kidding.
No, sorry.
You mofos. What is it? What'd you buy?
Listen, if there's no self, then there's no such thing as cheating, because like it wasn't me who cheated on you. It was some other being.
You know what? You know what's damn hard?
even in you.
Ooh. Jesus?
Here's another problem with Buddhism. The Buddha was a little spoiled brat. You're gonna believe some little spoiled brat gives you the key to life? I don't think so.
You
man.
are saying that? You fucking trust fund baby? You are saying that?
Listen.
Yeah, I know.
You got